Do you sometimes feel stuck in an avoidance cycle of procrastination? Being afraid to fail, therefore avoiding the task, but in the end being so stressed about not getting things done that your fear of failure becomes even stronger? Then stay tuned to learn how to break that vicious cycle. Hey everyone, and welcome to another video on how to break the avoidance cycle of procrastination. I am Eva, head of content at FlowLab. We at FlowLab have the mission to help people experience more focus, motivation, and these productive and rewarding flow states where we are so on fire and absorbed in a challenging activity that you lose your sense of time. If you haven't checked out our mental fitness app yet, feel free to scan the QR code or click on the link in the description. Experiencing flow on a regular basis has been linked to better performance, greater subjective well-being, so happiness basically, more job satisfaction and less burnout. The bad news is that we spend only 5 to 10% of our time in flow, if at all. Often, difficult thoughts and emotions keep us from focusing our entire attention on the activity that we would like to merge with. And they can lead to various maladaptive behaviors, amongst them procrastination. If you think about it, what was the last task that you procrastinated on because it felt uncomfortable? If we struggle to cope with difficult thoughts and emotions, we may tap into an avoidance cycle of procrastination. Fear of failure makes us feel so overwhelmed that it becomes extremely tempting to simply avoid the problem and put off the task. But sooner or later, when we need to face reality, we realize that we didn't get anything done and may become so stressed that our fear of failure becomes even stronger. Let's talk about this vicious cycle and how to break it today. While procrastination is often still associated with bad time management, the bigger problem for many is uncomfortable thoughts and emotions. In one study, more than 20% of participants viewed concern about not meeting one's own expectations or worries about getting a bad grade as main reasons for procrastination. It seems that perfectionism, feelings of pressure, and fear of failure are the real hurdles. From a psychological perspective, procrastination can have the function to protect one's self-worth. When having self-doubt about successfully completing a task, avoiding the task means avoiding the fear of failure and being hurt, at least temporarily. The reasons for self-doubt and fear of failure are as diverse as our excuses for procrastination. If you're interested in a more extensive video on that, just leave a comment below. In many cases, though, procrastinators irrationally believe that their performance reflects their self-worth. And you can imagine how much weight you'll have on your shoulders with beliefs like that. As a matter of fact, you might rather trigger a self-fulfilling prophecy. You think you won't be able to successfully master the task, therefore procrastinate and indeed perform below your capabilities. It's a self-perpetuating mechanism. So if you want to let go of this unhealthy habit and find more productive flow states instead, you need to actively break the avoidance cycle. To grab the bull by the horns, we first need to reveal the underlying convictions we hold about ourselves that keep us from performing and feeling as well as we'd like. In order to identify them, try to identify patterns. Let's briefly do this together. You can close your eyes if you like, just for a few moments, and bring to mind the situations or contexts where you are most tempted to procrastinate. What do these situations have in common? Which thoughts cross your mind at that moment? Perhaps you hear someone else's voice in the back of your mind telling you what you should or shouldn't do. Or maybe there is a specific type of task that is overly challenging. How do you talk to yourself in these moments? If you explore your feelings at that moment, which past situations do you perhaps know them from? And how did you perceive yourself in that past situation? And you can open your eyes again if you've had them closed. This reflection needs more time, of course, but this was a little foretaste of what this process can be like. Being aware of limiting beliefs is the first step towards making more productive decisions. We can actively make other decisions and new corrective experiences, so we can override these negative thought patterns. If you're into journaling, feel free to write down your thoughts to these reflection questions. This way, it might be easier for you to detect patterns and repeating topics. And once you've gained more understanding into the convictions you hold about yourself, you can actively challenge them. If you'd like a structured approach, you may also write down what evidence really confirms these beliefs, or what evidence also confirms the opposite, or how these beliefs are serving you, or how they are standing in your way. And if you rather want a guided meditation, check out our flow session Limitless to gain insight into your limiting beliefs and develop more confidence and optimism. You'll find it in the training area of optimism in the Flow Lab app. A great approach to encounter anxiety is to adopt curiosity. If we manage to become curious about a frightening situation and our feelings in that moment, it becomes much easier to turn thoughts such as, what if I fail, into, what if I win? What can I gain? What is the best case scenario? Rather than adopting a tunnel vision, we broaden our focus. Ideally, these positive thoughts also trigger more positive emotions, so that instead of a downward spiral, we can initiate an upward spiral. According to the broaden and build theory, positive emotions broaden one's attention and cognitive capacities and encourage exploration. This will help you to build new skills and mental resources and increase positive emotions again. So to counter negative emotions like anxiety and become curious, ask yourself questions such as, what will I learn from this challenge? What if this was a game? What does it teach me about myself? Or simply ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? You think you're too inexperienced, too old, too young, too shy, or whatever it is to master this challenge? What if you're wrong? What would a world look like where this assumption is incorrect? Just open yourself up for this mental exercise to make room for alternative possibilities. At this point, it's face it till you make it. Challenge yourself to face your fears and let yourself be guided by curiosity. We can actively make other decisions and new experiences so we can override these negative thought patterns. We also have a few flow sessions that will help you train curiosity, such as Stay Thirsty, Detect, or A Closer Look, all in the training area of Drive in the Flow Lab app. Next to mental fitness training, you can also build the external structures that facilitates perseverance. For example, find an accountability partner, someone who's responsible for making sure that you keep going and vice versa. I'd recommend you to do this in addition to mental fitness training so that your partner doesn't become the only motivation for you to tackle your challenge. Otherwise, your motivation for future tasks may become more dependent on finding an accountability partner again, and you'll have less intrinsic incentives to face a frightening challenge. How you want to implement that is up to you. You may formulate goals and sub-goals together, schedule daily or weekly check-ins where you report your progress. Some also like to define rewards or punishments when meeting or failing to meet certain sub-goals. But same goes here, rewards and punishments shouldn't be the only motivation for you to keep going. Always try to also focus on potential enjoyable aspects of the task or the process. Using external incentives can help to give you the very first push to get the ball rolling, but afterwards it's more sustainable from a psychological point of view to strengthen intrinsic motivation. To avoid stress about not making progress as fast as you'd hoped, take some time at the end of the day to give yourself credit even for small milestones. Write down at least one thing that you did well that day. This will give you a sense of accomplishment, release dopamine, and thereby motivate you to seek that activity next time again. The mere fact that you want to have something that you can write down in the evening can motivate you to get started. And in the long run, I think it's great to see that success is the result of many tiny steps rather than sudden leaps forward. It's small incremental improvements and consistency. If you want to internalize this focus on the process rather than the outcome, have a go at our flow session, The Long Haul. Or if you feel like celebrating your accomplishments and raising a glass to yourself, check out our session, Mountaintop. For more tips on how to beat procrastination, check out the other videos in our procrastination playlist. Other than that, let me know in the comment section below which task you finally want to tackle. If you like this video, I'd be happy if you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Have an amazing day and hope to see you next time.